Imagine the thrill of riding a furious 1,500-pound beast. A battle that will rock the planet is being announced by the snorts and stamps of the muscles, nerves, and raw power beneath you. But bull riding doesn't always go as planned. Seth Saulteaux was a young rider who emerged with burning intensity and eternal passion. The 19-year-old Irkin Cree Nation member wanted to leave his mark on a decades-old sport. But his journey ended up with a fateful encounter that gave rise to screams of horror and rocked the bull riding community to its core. What happened in those terrifying last minutes? Let's find out. The Rising Star. Seth Saulteaux's story starts in the heart of Alberta, surrounded by fields and the cultural bonds of the Irkin Cree Nation. He comes from a proud bloodline that values its heritage and traditions. Growing up in this natural setting, Seth became fascinated with bull riding. From a young age, he was fascinated by the majestic bulls on his family's ranch. He would spend hours observing them, learning their behaviors, and feeling their immense power and untamed spirit. Bull riding wasn't just a sport for Seth's family, it was a way of life, part of their daily routines. For the Irkin Cree Nation, rodeo meant more than just showcasing their ability. It was a way to celebrate their heritage and connect with the spirit of their ancestors. Seth's involvement in this culture was about more than just conquering bulls. It was about embracing his identity and finding his place in the ongoing story of his people. Seth's goals grew along with his age. He didn't just want to participate in bull riding. He wanted to excel and leave a strong impact on the sport, honoring the proud legacy of his community. He dreamed of riding the most challenging bulls and becoming a legend known for his resilience. Each ride brought him closer to achieving this burning dream in his heart. Seth's journey was not a solitary one. He was guided by the wisdom and stories of elders, supported by his family, and bonded with fellow riders. With every rodeo, his connection to his First Nation roots grew stronger, and each event became an opportunity to showcase the strength and spirit of his people. Becoming a prominent bull rider was more than just a personal ambition for Seth. It was a way to pay tribute to his culture and demonstrate the courage of the Irkin Cree Nation. With a mission in mind, he entered the arena bearing the aspirations and dignity of his hometown. Seth Salto, a name that started as a whisper in the Alberta winds, was destined to make a loud impact in the world of bull riding. Seth's journey was not an exception to the rule that the path to success is never simple. So what made this young cowboy's life so memorable for everyone that came into contact with him? Journey to the rodeo. As the big rodeo event got closer, Seth's days were all about intense training. He woke up before the crack of dawn, pushing himself to the limit physically and mentally. His routine included muscle training, planning his moves strategically, and sharpening his instincts to match the wild bulls. But Seth's preparation went beyond just being physically fit. He began studying the bull's behavior while paying close attention to every small detail. He analyzed his past rides, going over every move and decision. In his mind, he imagined every possible scenario, winning the mental battle before even stepping into the arena. The journey to the rodeo was full of anticipation. Seth traveled the familiar roads, carrying his gear, while his family cheered him on and his friends playfully teased him. His grandpa, Marcel, gave him some last-minute advice. His rider friend, Tron Simon, shared his own feedback. When they arrived at the rodeo grounds, it was an energetic scene. The air was filled with the smell of animals and barbecue, and country music mixed with the lively chatter of the crowd. Riders and bulls paraded around, showing off their skills and strength. The grandstand was buzzing with excitement as fans were looking forward to the thrilling rides. Seth managed to find some peaceful time amongst all the chaos. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and reflected on his coming ride. For him, the rodeo represented more than just a contest. It was his true home, where each moment spent atop a bull felt like a journey toward his destiny. Excitement permeated the air as the event got underway. Each cowboy and bull were greeted with cheers and applause. Seth's turn was approaching, the end of countless hours of physical and mental preparation. It was his time to chase glory. Pre-ride preparation. Behind the scenes, there was a tense situation. The riders were doing their own rituals in this calm before the storm. Some were praying silently, others were pacing nervously. But Seth was completely focused on his upcoming ride. These moments before the ride were crucial for him. He needed to center himself and calm his emotions. He knew about the risks, but his love for the sport and his desire to excel were stronger than his fear. During these quiet moments, Seth was not only preparing physically, but also mentally for his biggest challenge. As Seth's turn approached, the air around him seemed to become charged with nervousness. As he looked at the stands and then back at the chutes, a sense of resolve overtook him. It was time to face the beast and embrace the journey that is inevitable. With just a few seconds to make a name for himself, Seth Saulteaux was all set to leave his final mark. Final chapter. The event was a qualifier for the Indian National Finals Rodeo being held in Calgary. The rodeo was lit. It was full of energy. The stands were packed with people. You could feel the crowd's excitement with each ride. The smell of food stands, the dust from the hooves, and the occasional fireworks added more to the whole experience. One by one, the riders took their turn, facing off against the powerful bulls. There were moments of triumph, with riders holding on and showing off their skills. But there were also moments of defeat when riders were thrown off. However, each cowboy got back up, brushed off the dirt, and faced the bulls with full force. Seth was on the sidelines, watching every minute of this action. He looked over each bull, trying to understand their present moods. As Seth's turn came around, the air became thick with suspense. The crowd could feel it, and their excitement reached its peak. The announcer's voice got louder, the spectators leaned forward in their seats, and even the other riders paused to watch Seth get ready. In those final moments, Seth focused solely on himself and the bull. The noise of the crowd and the buzz of the arena faded away. This was where he belonged, where all his dreams and hard work came together. With a deep breath and a nod to his team, Seth signaled that he was ready. This was his moment, a final dance under the bright lights of the rodeo arena. The last ride. The moment had finally come. Seth Salto confidently walked towards the chute. The bull, a massive and powerful creature, seemed restless. Seth climbed onto the monster with ease. He tightly gripped the bull rope with one hand, raising his other hand in excitement. Spectators in the stands leaned forward. Hope mixed with nervousness was evident on the faces of Seth's fellow riders and family. The rodeo announcer introduced Seth's name. With a nod from Seth, the chute gate swung open. The bull came out in a flash, showing off its aggression. Seth soared above this mighty force. The bull bucked and twisted, trying to throw Seth off. Seth moved with the bull. Their movements were a battle of wills. He absorbed each jolt, holding onto the rope with all his might. Time seemed to stand still as the crowd watched in awe. Seth's technique was flawless, his body perfectly synchronized with the bull's movements. He countered each buck with ease. The bull gave its all, but Seth remained sturdy. However, in bull riding, fortunes can change in a short time, and that's what happened. The bull started to spin wildly as the seconds went by. Seth, who was having trouble controlling himself, lost his flow. The bull sensed the shift and intensified its efforts. And then it happened. In a heart-stopping moment, Seth's grip loosened, and he was thrown into the air by the bull's force. The crowd gasped collectively, filled with shock and concern. He fell hard onto the rodeo arena's hard surface. The bull's focus was quickly redirected from Seth by the rodeo clowns. The medical team arrived quickly. They kept distracting the bull to make sure Seth was safe. The medical team quickly jumped into action and approached Seth with care. The medical staff worked closely to assess Seth's condition and make sure he was stable. People in the crowd looked concerned. Some even stood up or covered their mouths. Meanwhile, the emergency response team monitored Seth's condition while carefully placing him on a stretcher. The announcer asked the crowd to be patient as Seth was taken out of the arena. Seth's family and friends stood in silence, witnessing their worst fears come true. The promising ride had taken a serious turn. Seth Salto, the upcoming star of the rodeo, was declared dead on a day that marked a huge loss in the rodeo world. He was only 19 years old when he died from a head injury he got while competing at the Chiniki Rodeo grounds. But his journey continues to inspire and resonate with those who aspire to ride under the rodeo lights.